What's up, everybody? Tim Anderson here, aka Renfell. Welcome back to another episode as we continue our review of the Obi-Wan show. This is episode 3, and before we dive in, full warning, this is not a spoiler-free review. This is a 100% spoiler alert. We are going to be talking about all the things from the third episode of this amazing show. So if you don't want things spoiled, please do not continue because everything from beyond this point, I'm going to be doing my little intro here. Everything beyond that is going to be spoiler territory. So please, if you don't want things spoiled, walk away now. Come back after you've watched the episode. If you are a returning visitor, this is where I get to say, hopefully you enjoy this. If you do, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon. And I would love it if you do enjoy my content to please do me a solid as I continue my journey to full-time content creator. Make sure that you drop a super thanks on this video. It's a great way to say thanks, buy me a cup of coffee, however you want to look at it, but it's a great way to support a content creator. And we also have a Patreon page for that world map behind me. We'll talk about it at the end of the episode. All right, again, spoiler alert. Walk away now if you don't want things spoiled. Okay, I've given everybody more than enough time. Let's talk. So, I got to bring up my show notes. But right away, we get this. The introduction to this is flashbacks from the previous episodes. And we have Obi-Wan in a meditation state, right? And he's remembering all of this stuff from before. And he's remembering the fall of Anakin, and he's struggling at the beginning of this episode because we were given the revelation at the end of this previous episode that Anakin Skywalker is still alive. Darth Vader is Anakin Skywalker, and he's very much still alive, and he is hunting Obi-Wan Kenobi. Now, I know there were some people who had commented on the previous video and had raised some concern about um, how does her character, how does Reva's character know who Darth Vader is, so on and so forth. How does she know who um, Darth Vader is in Obi-Wan, and why would she tell Obi-Wan that statement? Good questions. I still have more thoughts on that. There's a rumor going around that maybe she was one of the younglings that survived, and so she saw Anakin and saw his transformation. That's one theory. The other theory is just that Anakin, or excuse me, Darth Vader told her, or maybe it's just a thing that maybe, you know, Darth Vader is known to some people to have been Anakin Skywalker. Like, maybe that's just a known factor, and maybe that was something that got forgotten over time as the Emperor took on more and more control over things, and myth became legend. Like, I don't know. There's a lot of reasons why she could have known. I don't know what's the reason that's going to be given in the show, if a reason is even going to be given at all. But in any case, Obi-Wan is struggling with he's meditating and he's going through all these things in his mind and he's remembering things from the fall of Anakin Skywalker. It's just a very powerful opening sequence. And at the very end of it, we hear him crying out to Qui-Gon Jinn as he's trying to reach Qui-Gon Jinn through the meditation technique that Yoga supposedly taught him before he went off into the desert. And he's trying to reach Qui-Gon, and at the end of this meditation sequence, he literally calls out, and he's like, "He's coming, Master! He's coming for me!" And then we get this epic scene of as this is going on. By the way, we're seeing um, Darth Vader coming out of the back tank and getting clothed, and like his bits and pieces getting plugged into the body, and and as Obi-Wan says, "He's coming, Master," and then his meditation fades, and we literally see a fully assembled Darth Vader striding out into the scene. Was just talk about an opening of the ages. Really, really, really liked the opening sequence. Then we get into this epic scene between Darth Vader and Reva, where he's basically offering her the Grand Inquisitor seat if she can track down Obi-Wan. So we're getting the sense that there's this Sith power play going in here, where he's manipulating these characters and offering them greater power. That's something we're familiar with. Um, and then we kind of switch over and we're in this transport vessel. And I really like the sequence here because little Princess Leia is asking all these questions of Obi-Wan. Like, what's it feel like to have the Force and all this other stuff? And you got to remember that Obi-Wan's been shut off to the Force for a very long time. It was something I forgot to talk about in the previous sequence when he catches her as she's falling in the second episode. And you see him reach out, and it used to be the Force for him was intuitive. He used it every day, but we see him at the end of episode 2 as she's falling, he's reaching out and he's struggling, like he can't feel the connection. He's cut himself off from the Force for 10 years, and when he finally feels it and he's able to keep her from hitting the ground, he's flooded with emotions and also like it came back. And but he's still very much a damaged person. And we see this sequence where she asks him what it's like to use the Force, and he asks her, "Well, have you ever been afraid of the dark?" And she's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Well, you know how when the light comes back on, you feel safe again?" And she's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "That's how the Force feels." And I was like, that's a really cool way to explain the Force to anybody. Like, it's like being in the dark, and then a light comes on, and you're no longer afraid because you can see. And I was like, "Oh my God, that's so cool." Um, We then, as they're walking through this landscape of this tortured planet, Obi-Wan's having this vision of Anakin, like standing out there in his robes, and he's looking at him with just hatred on his face. And you're seeing Hayden Christensen as an actor, not in the Darth Vader costume, but actually him as with the face, and it's like just tortured look as he's looking out from his robes to Obi-Wan. It's like, man, Obi-Wan is in a dark place right now, like so tortured that he's even seeing Anakin in his waking moments. There's a little bit of fluff here in this episode where we're getting, the transport vessel, and Leia is like spinning the story, and she's obviously continuing sort of that um, precociousness that we talked about in episodes 1 and 2. They got a great little actress to play. What is her name, by the way? I need to look this up. Cast members here. Um, is she gonna be right away? Vivian Lyra Blair as Leia Organa. Um, she's doing a great job. Really, really, really liked her character so far. And then when you get all the stormtroopers boarding the transport vessel and they're talking about how they're looking for a Jedi, Obi-Wan's squirming and little Leia's coming up with all these stories. Obi-Wan has to try to keep up, and then he accidentally calls her by her real name when they've been using a fake name, and the stormtroopers are like, "What's all that about?" And Obi-Wan kind of recovers and says, "Well, that was her mother's name, and when I look at her, I see her mother." And Leia picks up on that, and after the stormtroopers are gone, she's like, "Are you my real father?" And he's like, I really wish I was. She intuitively senses that Obi-Wan knew her mother. It's a very powerful emotional scene. um, this little girl, Vivian Lyra Blair, is really showing her acting chops as a young actress. She's got a long career ahead of her, I bet. We get to the checkpoint. Of course, Freck sold them out. We knew that was happening. um, Probe droid comes in, obviously, action sequence, still no lightsaber. Signal gets sent out, and the Inquisitors know that Obi-Wan's on this planet. As this is happening, more stormtroopers come, an Imperial officer shows up, and then we find out that, oh, she's not actually an Imperial officer. She's the person they were supposed to meet in the first place to get him off planet. She's a spy. Um, and etc. I love how the stormtroopers on this planet are all like dirty and kind of, it's a backwater mining planet, and the stormtroopers here are not the pristine, soldierly saluting stuff that we see in like, say Return of the Jedi on the Death Star. It's very much sort of like the stormtroopers from Mos Eisley. They're just out on patrols, but they're dirty and dusty, and it's not like the uh, crack elite, saluting everyone, always in line, rank and file type of soldier. We're seeing sort of the day-to-day outer rim type stuff. I really like those little details. We do find out that this character who is played by Indira Varma, a character called Tia, she's like running some sort of underground smuggling, like underground railroad that's helping force sensitive and Jedi escapes. That's a cool little backstory we're getting here. But of course, someone saw them. Plus, there was the probe droid sent the message out, and they find out they've been compromised. It's time to run. They're getting ready to run into the tunnels, and all of a sudden, Obi-Wan doubles over, and I'm like, no, something's about to happen. Like he's sensing something, and then sure enough, it pans out to the outside, and we've got Darth Vader. He's here with the Inquisitors, and it's full on like, oh my God, we're about to see some shit go down. And it's this really cool moment where, are we gonna run or not? And Obi-Wan's unsure, and then as Darth Vader's walking down the street, he just starts to force choke people and haul them out of their houses and like kill them in the street. And like he's trying to pull Obi-Wan out at this point. He knows he's there. He can sense him, and he's just taunting him with his dark side powers. And this is when Obi-Wan gives a selfless act and gives Tila, the Princess Leia, and says, "Take her to the ship. Run. I'll draw him away." And that's the sequence that starts to happen where Obi-Wan goes out and tries to run Darth Vader to lure Darth Vader away. And of course, we get Darth Vader. There's this moment where he's running, and there's a sequence where we see we see Obi-Wan Kenobi running towards the foreground, and then all of a sudden you see this silhouette step out into the actual foreground of the shot, and we get red lightsaber that lights up, and Obi-Wan freezes in his tracks, and he turns around and runs, right? But leading up to this moment, he's like running through the darkness, trying to run away from Darth Vader. And he keeps like he's like looks at his lightsaber, but he doesn't light it, and he's got this look of terror on his face. He's just truly terrified. And then you get this sequence where fires up the lightsaber, or Darth Vader fires up his lightsaber. Obi-Wan runs, and then you hear Darth Vader say, "You cannot run, Obi-Wan," and we finally see Obi-Wan fire up his lightsaber for the first time in a decade and prepare to defend himself. And we get Darth Vader coming into the scene, and Obi-Wan looks at him, and he literally, I had to write this down, the dialogue. He's like, "What have you become?" And literally Anakin responds with, "I am what you made me." And then Obi-Wan just takes off running again because he's not here to fight. He's here to draw Darth Vader away. But also, this can't go on forever, and we see a fight sequence that begins to play out where Darth Vader is basically just beating the crap out of Obi-Wan, and Obi-Wan's just constantly falling to the ground and barely able to hold him off. Different lightsaber styles than we've seen before, but again, Darth Vader's a different person, and Obi-Wan hasn't used a lightsaber in 10 years, so he's rusty. He's not good with the Force anymore. He's feeling all these emotions. He's terrified. He's not a Jedi at the peak of his powers. This is very much, fear has entered his mind, and he is, no longer the Jedi who once was. Um, Then we get to the point, and this is where the episode just went like full out. Um, Darth Vader's coming down this alley, this mining path, and he pulls down this cart of substance, and it spills out across, and he force chokes Obi-Wan up into the air, and Obi-Wan's like, drops his lightsaber, and then Darth Vader reaches down with his lightsaber and does this thing where he goes and like sets everything on fire, whatever spilled out of the mining cart. He sets the whole ground on fire, and he throws Obi-Wan into the frickin' flames. Like, oh my god. And I'm sitting here going, this is so brutal. This is so brutal. This is so brutal. And he's literally, his dialogue, he's like, "No, you will suffer like I suffered." And I'm just like, oh my god. Like, Anakin is full on revenge mode at this point. And so Obi-Wan's like on one side, burning to a crisp, starting to burn anyway, and then he manages to force pull. At least I think that's what happened in the sequence. It was a little rushed. He manages to like force pull himself out of the fire, and at the same time, we see this character, Tia, appear, and she's shooting at these stormtroopers that are coming up to help Darth Vader. And basically, this allows Obi-Wan to escape. But in order to do that, she left Princess Leia in the tunnels, and Princess Leia was just going to run ahead to the transport ship and escape because Princess Leia was like, "Please go help Obi-Wan." And then at the end of the episode, we get um, Princess Leia emerging out of the tunnel to where the person is supposed to be at the ship, and instead Riva is there. And Riva's like, "I'll take care of you." But Leia sees the body on the ground and says, "Nope, you are not who I'm supposed to meet," and takes off running through the tunnels again. And that's where the episode closes. Oh my God. I have so many thoughts, so many emotions. What an episode. Like, I thought episode 2 had kicked it up a notch. This takes it up another notch. Like, we're all the way at 11 now, babies. All the way at 11. Like, this is mm, this show is so good. Like, I liked The Mandalorian a lot. Not gonna lie, Mandalorian has been pretty good, but I'm starting to feel like this is a better show than The Mandalorian. I don't know. I'm loving it. This third episode was fire. Just all the way up to 11 with all the things going on here. And of course, we still haven't seen Obi-Wan really come out of his shell, and he's been very much 100% defensive, scared, terrified. Now he's burnt. His left side's burned, and he's got to recover, and he just got his ass handed to him by Darth Vader. He's terrified. He's alone. Um, Emotionally, this is a really impactful episode, and I'm really feeling what they've done here. The just writer director. I think Deborah Cho directed all of these episodes. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Deborah Chow. Sorry, and she is just knocking it out of the ballpark with all these episodes. And I do want to go on the record here and say for all of the people who are out there attacking Moses Ingram because she's black and all this other stuff, you need to get bent. There is no room for racism in my Star Wars universe. This is Star Wars, and I love Star Wars, and I celebrate Star Wars, and Star Wars is a world of inclusivity, not exclusivity. So, for all of you out there who are trying to make all these stupid reasonings why she shouldn't be that character and why her character shouldn't do this, that, and the other, get bent, enjoy the show. This is epic Star Wars storytelling. I'm absolutely on board for all of it. Love it. I hope you're loving it as well. Now, here's the part where I get to say if you liked this episode, let me know. Drop comments down below, like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon so that you get updates in the future. What, somebody just subscribed as I was talking. Cool. Um, and follow along. We got more coming. And if you would support the channel, if you'd like to support, which I hope you do, hopefully you like these episodes enough to do so, please drop a super thanks on the video. It could be $2, could be $5, $10, whatever you feel comfortable with. Buy me a cup of coffee or whatever you want to do. Coffee. It's a great way to support the channel and my journey to becoming a full-time content creator. I stream most days, morning and evenings, if you want to watch games or just hang out and other stuff. We also have a Discord. Links are down below. And more importantly, that world map behind me, our 5th edition tabletop book, just launched yesterday. The World of the Weave and the Void, we've been working on for the past 15 months, my brother, my wife, and I. That tabletop source book just dropped yesterday. More information over on our Patreon page, patreon.com/wandering hermits. There's also a point and click game set in the same world. We're building it now. You can download the demo. That's out later this year. And we have an ongoing book series that's published through the Patreon page. And we have a live streamed D&D campaign starting on June 12th on the Twitch channel for the Weave of the Void. So hopefully you'll check all that stuff out as well. So again, you can support here. You can support over on Patreon. Hopefully we'll see you in Discord. And I really hope you stick around for the next episode of Obi-Wan with me because it's gonna be fire! Onwards and upwards, everybody. Until next time, stay safe out there.